Greetings scholars, my name is Wormwood and welcome back to Chinese Honorifics. In the previous episode, we took a look at Gui, dear, esteemed, etc. If you haven't watched my video on Gui, I strongly recommend you pause this video and go and watch that one first, since some words and phrases that were introduced there will appear in this video. Now that we're all caught up, let's continue. Gui belongs to the category 敬词, or respectful language, and today we'll be looking at another important category, 谦词, or humble language. You probably guessed from the name, but humble language is used to, well, make you sound more humble, without the sheikh having to break your back, and make you humble, which is a plus. This is accomplished by using self-deprecating vocabulary. In fact, if you have some familiarity with Chinese, you probably already know a few of these, like the standard reply to any Chinese compliment ever, 哪里哪里. This can seem weird if you're from a culture where it's normal to graciously accept compliments or talk about your achievements, but please bear in mind that in Confucian societies, including China, Japan, Korea, and Vietnam, being humble is a virtue, and while your self-assuredness may be refreshing at times, many Chinese will think you're rude or a jackass if you show too much confidence. There are as many ways to be humble as there are to be respectful, but today we will focus on one humble prefix, 贱. 贱 means cheap or of poor quality, as in the words 卑贱, lowly, mean, or vulgar, and 贱卖, to sell at a low price. Just like Gui, when 贱 is used as an honorific, you attach it before the word it modifies, and use it to talk about things having to do with yourself, like your name, age, your occupation, but not your company, as well as some of your family members. Let's see some examples. First off, 贱子, 贱子, I, me, myself. Literally, I, the humble one. While in modern Chinese, the common word for I and me is 我, in historical times, only people of higher status or very close friends would use 我 when talking to someone else. When you were talking to someone of higher status or someone you didn't know that well, instead of saying 我, you could say 贱子 to refer to yourself. However, unlike 我, 贱子 is a gender-specific word, so if you're a woman, you would instead use 贱妾. 贱妾. 妾 means concubine, so literally 贱妾 means I, the humble concubine. Despite the unfortunate implications here, 贱妾 was actually not only used by wives or maidservants, but was commonly used by women talking to someone they didn't know or were of higher status. Very rarely used outside of costume dramas these days, but if you're one of my 3.4% female viewers, hi by the way, I'm sure you can use it to tease your Chinese boyfriend with. Full disclosure, these two terms aren't very common in modern Mandarin. They are, however, quite common in classical stories and historical fiction, so if you're like me and love reading Chinese classical short stories, you'll encounter them quite often. That being said, the next one is quite a bit more practical. 见姓, 见姓, my humble surname. 见姓 is an alternative to the reply 免贵姓 that we saw in the video on Gui. The difference being that while you wouldn't say 我面贵姓王, you can say 我见姓王, or just 见姓王. You can also use 见名, 见名, my humble given name, if someone asks you for your first name. Quick personal note, if someone asks for my full name in Chinese, I will usually give my last name with 免贵姓, and my given name with 见名, just to avoid sounding repetitive. In the previous video, I mentioned you couldn't say 免贵庚 in response to someone asking your age. What you can say, however, is 见庚, 见庚, my humble age. For example, 请问您贵庚? How old are you? 见庚25岁. I'm 25 years old. Apart from your age, you can also use 见 to talk about your birthday, which is 见将. 见将, literally my humble descent. For example, 下周是我的见将，我请你们都一起出去吃火锅吧。Next week is my birthday. How about we all go and eat hot pot, my treat? Naturally, you would also use humble language when talking about your health. So, for example, you would say 健体, my humble body, when talking about your health. Like so. 小王，我觉得你这几天没太大精神了，怎么了？ Hey Wong, these days you haven't been very energetic. What's up? 哦， 我最近健体有点不舒服。Oh, I've been feeling under the weather lately. 见样is the humble equivalent to 贵样。您贵阳有好转吗？ Has your illness gotten any better? 见阳已经痊愈。I'm already fully recovered. Outside of yourself, you can also use 见 to humbly speak of your wife and children, but not your husband. That's for another video. 见经 my humble wife. 经 means thorn bush, but why a thorn bush, you ask? There's a Chinese stock phrase that reads 金柴布裙, which literally translates to thorn hairpin linen skirt. This alludes to a woman living in poverty, using thorns as hairpins and wearing only simple clothing. And a woman who would share such a lot with her husband was seen as the ideal of a humble and virtuous wife, and so 经 became a byword for wife, like in this example. 我们上次讨论的那件事，你下了决定吗？ About that thing we discussed last time, have you made a decision yet? 哦，这件事我先得和建经商量一下。I need to discuss this with my wife before making a decision. 见习 doesn't mean my humble breath, but rather my humble child. For example, 听说贵子高考考上第一名，恭喜恭喜。I hear your son got full marks on his 高考 exam. Congratulations! 见习的成绩都托您的福，老师。It's because of you he got those high marks in the first place. Thanks a lot. Finally, 见容 which means trifling or trivial matter, and is largely equivalent to the neutral 事 or 事情, and you would use it pretty much the same as having a thing in English, some matter you don't really want to go into detail about, as in the following examples. 哎，小刘，你这时间才来，什么意思？ Hey, Liu, what do you mean by coming in at this hour? 哦，对不起，我来晚了，我被建荣耽误了。Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. I was held up by something. Now, in my last video, I also showed you how to use 贵 in a business setting. However, 见 is not used in formal business settings. To find out how you talk about your own organization or company in formal Chinese, stay tuned for my next Chinese honorific video on the prefix 本. Thank you all so much for watching. I would be greatly honored if you would indulge the hungry algorithm by leaving a noble like and a jade comment below, condescend to support me via the Chinese Merchant Guild on Patreon, and subscribe for more unworthy videos. You're all truly wonderful. Until next time, scholars.